this trashy bar. Another glass and I am going places. Makes me laugh about the irony of everything. I like the way you're thinking. I don't really care about the music on the dance floor. I don't really mind all the smokers in the bathroom. I don't care at all, baby, you got my attention. So you were saying, oh no, I don't see the logic of things. It's quite a lonely world that we're living in. Oh baby, you are something special, I'm sure. Everything makes total sense when you're next to me. Another drink and I'll go anywhere. The way you smell, like a flash in the universe. You are illuminating. I don't really care about the people in the bar line. I don't really mind all the hookahs doing stage dives. I don't care at all, baby, you got my attention. So you were saying, I don't see the logic of things. It's quite a lonely world that we're living in. Oh baby, you are something special, I'm sure. Everything makes total sense when you're next to me. Even if I told you I could never let you go, I am not so sure you believe me. But if I mean to show you, I will never let you go. No, 'cause you don't see the logic of things. It's quite a lonely world that we're living in. Oh baby, you are something special, I'm sure. Everything makes total sense when you're next to me. Wanna shake the ground, wanna break away, let loose. I'm tired of waiting, gotta make that move. All the neon signs, now they shout to me and you to write our story, wanna shape the new. Do you wanna come along with me? Come along with me. Do you wanna? Got a restless mind, and now I won't let go. So let us be crazy before we're cold. You can take us out, your doubts won't hold us down, 'cause we're
Hey, from the moment of my opened eye, been looking for a guided light to lead me on my way. Yeah, lost, struggling to make the top. A slipping grip can't hold me up. It's the game of life we play. When everything comes crashing down behind your door, when I hear the sound, you say the word and I'll stay the night. You wouldn't text if you moved on. You wouldn't keep me in your phone unless you know that you were wrong. Now, from this moment rolling up, a speeding train can't hold it up. You and I, we lost our way. You cheated, lied, and ran away, and I got stuck with a knife in me. And this pain won't go away, but still, when everything comes crashing down behind your door, when I hear the sound, you say the word and I'll stay the night. You wouldn't text if you moved on. You wouldn't keep me in your phone unless you know that you were wrong. But I hold on, but I hold on, but I hold on for dearest life until you're gone. I'm out of the frame, don't hold your breath. I'm used to the pain, but baby, don't forget. It's all fun and game until the final step. That's when you overstep. You know that I'm weak, you exploit that, yeah. I'm down on my knees when you place your bet. Keep telling myself it's the last of it, but I hold on. When everything comes crashing down behind your door, when I hear the sound, you say the word and I'll stay the night. You wouldn't text if you moved on. You wouldn't keep me in your phone unless you know babe, bursting out in cold flames. Breathing, we are catching fire. Thought that we were wiser. Go and light the match, babe. Miss out on the good days. Breathing, we are catching fire.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited. So many of you are here, already in the comments, already saying hello. I see you all. So just know, keep commenting. I want to hear from you. I'm so very thrilled for today's training. It is going to be fantastic. We've prepared for this because I take habits that seriously. I'm hoping you walk away from this training thinking, okay, I know what I got to do. I know what my new habits are. I'm committed. I'm going to make this happen. So I'm going to make this worth every minute of your time. If you're new here, if you are like, who is this girl? What's going on? My name is Amy Porterfield, and I help entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs create more freedom in their lives and in their businesses by helping you grow and attract new people into your audience so that you can have an email list. And from there, I help you take your skill set and knowledge and turn that into profitable digital courses that you can launch over and over again. So growing an email list and creating digital courses, that's my specialty. So why am I talking about habits then today? What does that have to do with growing an email list and creating digital courses? It has everything to do with you building a thriving business online. If you want to create your own business, if you're in the thick of it, if you're making it happen right now, I can guarantee you that if you tweak some of your daily habits, you will see success faster. I have no doubt in my mind. So, first question. And just know, actually, before I get into it all, I want you to know, number one, I have Amazon gift cards. I give away $25 Amazon gift cards just for the fun of it because I want you active in the comments because it gets a little nerve-wracking on this end of the camera if I think no one's there. So if you're active in the comments, I will randomly select people throughout the training. If I call out your name, if I say you want an Amazon gift card, all you need to do is pay close attention. Come back to me if you're already multitasking. All you need to do is email support@amyporterfield.com. Email support@amyporterfield.com. Let them know you want an Amazon gift card on today's training and they will get you hooked up right away. So that's as easy as that. Also, I want to know who you are. So if you're in the comments, I need to know your name so I can give you a shout out. So you'll see Brittany from my team is in the comments below telling you how to give the system I use, which is Restream, permission to use your name and your photo. So you've got to do one extra step if you're not showing up. But just for the record, like Lee here, she's showing up just fine. And I see you, Megan. There you are. Megan's crossing her fingers that you guys are the winners. Megan works on my team. Let's see here. I see Mildred out there. Hello, Julia. I see you too. So you all are good. But if you show up as just your name, like here we go. Mike, I don't see a picture for Mike. And actually, most of you, though, are coming through. Rick Allen, I see you. And Faith, I see you too. So most of you are coming through just fine. So awesome. I think we're good to go. Okay. So here's the thing. Remember, if I call your name out, you just randomly won an Amazon gift card. Listen, $25. I know it's not tons of money, but you can always add it to that thing you've been wanting to get on Amazon. All right. So here's the thing. Who is this training for right now? Well, if you're in a 9-to-5 job, if you are a coach, a consultant, if you do one-on-one work, if you're a service-based provider, if you're trading time for dollars, this is the training for you. Or if you just are in a situation right now that you don't want to be in, you want to move into a brighter future, you want to create your own business, you want to change your business model, you want something different, this is the training for you because I'm going to show you the habits I used, and I've used them over and over again to create more time freedom, financial freedom, more creativity freedom, lifestyle freedom. I mean, just fill in the blank. These habits will give you more of what you want. And specifically, because I teach people how to grow businesses online, I'm going to show you some habits that will move you into creating a business that you absolutely love. So that's what today's all about. Now, I'm going to get into the habits that have helped me. I'm going to give them to you today, but don't forget that we've got a workbook. And this is the workbook. So amyporterfield.com/workbook1. Go there right now. Just go grab it, because that way you don't have to take copious notes throughout the entire training, because you're going to want to know this stuff. But I created a workbook that will help you remember everything I'm going to teach you so that you can go back to it again and again. Because my goal is not for you to listen for the next 20, 30 minutes. My goal is for you to actually do something about what you learned today. The workbook will help you do so. So again, amyporterfield.com/workbook1. Okay, so I've got a question for you. Get ready, because I'm going to do my first Amazon gift card giveaway in the comments soon. I want you in the comments, and I want you to give me a yes or an emoji or a amen or whatever you want if you can relate to any of these, okay? I'm going to give you some scenarios. So if you've been dreaming about freedom, maybe you've been dreaming, I'm going to look at my notes here because I wrote down a few things that I think you might be able to relate to. Some of you some of you feel stuck working in an office. Give me a yes, emojis, only if that's you. Give me an amen, whatever you want, if you feel stuck working in an office or you're totally tired of your commute. Maybe that's you. Or if you're just so tired of answering to someone else. You're like, I don't want to be told what to do, when to do it, or how to do it. That was me. That's why I left corporate. I'll tell you my story in a minute. Or maybe you're dreaming of creating an online business. Is that you? I mean, keep them coming. Raymond, you were the first one I saw. You get an Amazon gift card. Email support@amyporterfield.com. Raymond Wright. I told you, I just randomly look down. If I see you commenting, you could win. Okay, how about this one? You're dreaming of creating an online business, or specifically, you want to create a digital course. Sometime this year or early next year, you want to take your knowledge and skill set and create a digital course, because you know that you can only make so much money working one-on-one or working for clients because there's only one of you. So give me some yeses or amens in the comments or some emojis. Or how about this one? You're doing service-based work or one-on-one work, and you know you're capped, meaning there's, again, only one of you. You can only make so much money. So you're like, I feel kind of screwed here, that I can't be making more when I'm working one-on-one. Is that you? I'm just throwing out some scenarios that you might be able to relate to. Leslie Silverman, you're my next winner. She says, yes, want more freedom outside of the office. So you're my next Amazon gift card winner. I've got more, so just stay with me, friends. Okay, so I appreciate you participating, because the thing that's most important for you to remember is this right here. If you want more freedom, you must create consistent habits. Habits are the catalyst for creating the life you want. I'm going to repeat that. Habits are the catalyst for creating the life you want. So today I'm going to share with you the 6 entrepreneurial habits that I personally have used over and over again in order to create the business that I have. And these are habits. Here's the greatest part. Stay with me here, because I love to share this part with you. They're habits that you can incorporate into what you're already doing. No major hills to climb to make them all work. Just new ways to approach what needs to get done in your business so that you can move the needle the way you want to move it. So there are new ways to approach what needs to get done in your business so you can move the needle the way you want to move it. That's what these habits are all about. But let me take you back to why I created them in the first place. I was in corporate for many, many years. I had a 9-to-5 job. Specifically, the last one I held was almost 7 years with peak performance coach Tony Robbins. And I got to travel the world and work on the content that Tony does on stage, like Unleash the Power Within, Date with Destiny, and behind the scenes with his own digital courses. It was a dream job. But I started to dream of being my own boss. I did get to the point, no matter how much I love Tony, I got to the point that I thought, I don't want to be told what to do, when to do it, or how to do it by someone else. I don't want to be on someone else's time or someone else's dime. I wanted to create more lifestyle freedom. I was newly married. I wanted to spend more time with my husband. So I thought, I need an opportunity to be my own boss. But I was terrified to do that. And so I started to really get clear on what I wanted and how I wanted to do it. And for the next year, while I still worked at corporate, I created 6 what I call entrepreneurial habits that have allowed me to do what I want to do in my life. They've allowed me to create what I have today. But I had to start working on them even while I was still in a situation I didn't want to be in. because I wanted to be my own boss. So these are the habits that literally shaped what I have today. And I still use them today, but I use them even more so to get started. And so before I share them with you, I want to ask you a quick question. And that question, here, let me put it on the screen. If you had more lifestyle freedom, what would you do? Now, don't just flippantly just like type something in. Like, actually really think about this. If you had more time freedom or more financial freedom, meaning you had the opportunity to make more money than you're making now, or lifestyle freedom, you could work whenever, wherever. If you had more freedom to be creative, if you got to call the shots, what would you do? Meaning, what would that mean to you? What would that look like? If you had more freedom in your life, what would you do with it? I'm very curious what your comments are going to be here. And I promise I'm getting right into my habits that I'm going to share with you, but I'm really wanting to know, like, what would that look like to you? There's a small delay. So, here we go. Christine, you were the first one I saw, and you get an Amazon gift card. Write a book. Amen. I'm literally in the throes of writing my very first book. But Christine, I can relate. I talked about it for like 5 years and did nothing with it. But if I really put habits into place to make it happen, it would have happened sooner. So I love that you said that. Laura says, travel more to show my kids the world. Sandra says, volunteer across the world. Rosie says, travel more frequently to collect more inspiration. Travel. I wasn't even a huge traveler before COVID, but now all I think about is traveling. Who am I? I don't know. Christy, I love that you said, visit my grandchildren more often. Rick says, travel and paint. More time at the beach with my family. I have chills. This is the stuff I live for. What would we do if we created the life that we truly wanted? This is the stuff. Notice that people are saying everything that has to do with more happiness, more time with loved ones, more of the outdoors, spend more time hiking around my magnificent country of South Africa. Well, that sounds glorious. Travel more, get back into my favorite hobbies. At one point, I didn't even have a hobby. I had so little time that I'm like, what would a hobby even be? And so I love that you said that. I would get my cookbook out faster. You guys, these are so good. I need to take a snapshot of all of these. Take a moment to read in the comments what other people are posting. This is the stuff that I live for. This is the stuff that's so important. So in order to make those things possible, because I want you to know everything you all just wrote, 1,000,000% possible for you. And I believe it starts with daily habits. So I'm going to share some of mine with you right now. And the first daily habit I want to share with you is to define your non-negotiables, both personally and professionally. Here's the thing. If you don't set boundaries around what you will do and what you won't do, you will never, ever have the time to do what really lights you up because you'll get pulled in a million directions. And if you're a people pleaser like me, you'll say yes to everyone but yourself. So when I was first starting out, moving from corporate into starting my own business, I had to, for the first time, I think, in my life, set some non-negotiables. Another word to look at these is some boundaries. But I set some very specific ones. I promised you that this training would be specific, and that's what I want to do for you right now. So I want you to actually steal my non-negotiables and make them your own. Tweak them to make them work for you. But there were 3 that I swear by, and I still do. But I did this way back when I was in a situation I wanted to get out of so I could move forward. So number 1 is allow no to be a complete sentence. My good friend Marie Forleo says, get on the no train. And I had to. Instead of pleasing everyone, saying yes to everything that came my way because I didn't want to disappoint people, I knew that if I wanted to create a different future, I had to focus on some new things, which meant I needed the time to do so. So when someone asked me to do something that I didn't want to do or that didn't actually connect to my future goals, I had to pass on it. I had to say no. And it wasn't like, no, I can't because this or that, but maybe hit me up later and maybe I can. No. It was just no. No, thank you. I'm a little bit more polite than just no. I'm not that bold, but I'll say, no, thanks so much for asking, but I can't. Whether it might be a dinner that someone wants to go to that I don't want to go to, or a project that I know is not necessarily something I'm responsible for at work. And even though I want to be a team player, I knew it was kind of a little bit inappropriate to be asked. So I said no. When you can, I know that's not always the case in a 9-to-5 job, or just even with my spouse, my husband Hobie. Sometimes I had to say no to different things that came up. So you have to protect your time, your energy, and your mental state. So saying no more often is a habit I want you to enlist, and that is your non-negotiable. Here's another one. This is important. Decide when you want to work and when you don't. So right now, either you're in a 9-to-5 wanting to get out, or you're a coach, a consultant, service-based provider wanting to move maybe to a different type of business model or something that feels more at ease with what you really want to do in the future. Or maybe you're just in a situation where you want to change what you're doing. You have to decide when you work and when you don't, whether that be in the 9-to-5 job or in your online business or whatever it might be. So when you do decide this, that means you're very intentional when you're working. You're focused, you're on, you're in it, no distractions. But then you take yourself out of that because, my friend, burnout is real. Can I get an amen? Can I get a yes in the comments? Burnout is real. I have experienced it more times than I'd like to admit. I've experienced it less now 12 years into building my business because I know that I define when I work and when I don't work. Now, I'm 12 years in with a team of 20 full-time employees, but when I started, it was just me. And then it was my first assistant, Rebecca, for 5 hours a week. And then I started to slowly grow. Now, my business is pretty special in the sense that 20 full-time employees all across the US, and we work a 4-day work week. We work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We do not work Friday, and of course, not Saturday or Sunday. We do a 4-day work week in order to give ourselves more time to rest, to breathe, to be creative in our own personal lives, to connect with the people that matter. Because I know when my team comes back on Monday, which is today, they're on fire. They're in it. They're in it to win it, and they give me their all. We haven't always had a 4-day work week. It's something fairly new over the last few months, but I wish I did it years and years ago. You could do that. You could decide you only work when you have your own business. You only work Monday through Thursday, and you take Fridays off. I wish I decided that 10 years ago. I still could have had the success I have today, but I didn't define it early enough, and you can do so. So this is a mistake that I struggled with that I wanted to share with you. Define when you work and when you don't work. You want to pick up your kids at 3 p.m.? Good, that's when you stop working. You know that there's a name of, I wrote it in my note. There's a law. Someone tell me in the comments, you guys are so good with this, where, time expands to whatever time you have. Like if you got 5 hours to do something, you'll take 5 hours. If you have 2 hours to do it, miraculously, you do it in 2 hours. So that kind of thing works here as well. Decide when you want to work, and when you don't want to work, you'll get the job done. I have no doubt in my mind. The third one, let's see. I know you guys are super smarty pants. You always know this stuff when I get stuck. What is it? What is it called? Pareto's? I don't know. That one, Parkinson's. That's the one I was thinking of. Parkinson's law. Lou, you win an Amazon gift card. So email support@amyporterfield.com and they'll get you hooked up. Parkinson's law. That's what I was thinking about. So it's real. It's a real thing. Take advantage of it now that we know that actually does happen. Okay, the third one is decide when electronics are allowed and when they aren't. So these were the 3 non-negotiables I used in order to move from my 9-to-5 job into creating my own business. I had to do it while I was still in my 9-to-5 job as much as I could within reason. I wasn't the boss. I wasn't calling the shots, but I started to put these habits in place slowly. So decide when electronics are allowed and when they're not allowed. So my husband, Hobie, is a firefighter. Actually, we moved from California to Nashville, and in that move, he retired. So he's a retired firefighter now, but he is blue collar to the bone. That man hates any kind of technology, still doesn't know how to voice text. When I taught him how to voice text, when you hit the button and they can hear your voice on text, he did it like this: hello, period. It's Hobie, period. I'm like, they can hear you saying period. Like, the guy does not get technology. He knows I tease him about this, no secret. However, what I love about my no technology man is that he calls me on it. So we'll be sitting having our morning coffee, something that is very important to him. His love language is quality time. So that man wants my time. And for a woman that likes to work a lot, that's a little bit tough for me sometimes. I'm just going to be honest. So we're sitting drinking our coffee, and here I am scrolling. I'm just scrolling. And he says, "Hey, babe, what are you looking at?" And I look down, and the answer is, I don't know. I have no idea. It's like I'm a robot and my finger just does this. I think I sleep and my finger does this. Can anyone relate to that? So with technology, it's just we're in a trance. We know that. I don't need to harp on this one. But what if you decided when your technology was allowed and when it wasn't? In our house, it's not allowed during coffee, even though I break the rules sometimes. I can't help it. It's like again, trance. We don't do phones during coffee in the morning, and we do not do phones during anytime we have a meal together or like a date night. Phones are a no-no. And believe me, Hobie Porterfield will call me on it the minute he catches me. So these are things that have helped me just stay focused and grounded, and also working my butt off to create the business I have today without always feeling burned out. They're important. So who here would be willing to create your non-negotiables? Feel free to steal mine or create your own, but who here would be willing to do that? Give me a yes in the comments if you're like, I'm in, I'll do it. All right, well, you're doing that. I'm going to move on to the second habit that, this is a big one for me. Schedule tiger time and start creating without judgment. Schedule tiger time and start creating without judgment. This is a habit we all need to use on our journey to becoming thriving entrepreneurs. What is tiger time? Well, think about a tiger with her cub. Think about how protective she is. She's fierce, right? No one's getting around that cub. Same thing with your time. 1 hour a day, if you can't swing it, maybe 2-3 times a week, but I love 1 hour a day. You schedule it and dedicate that time to working on something in your life that is going to move you closer to your goals. Now, specifically, I'm talking about your business. So this is what I really want you to do. Every single day, I want you to find 1 full hour where you are working on the kind of business you want to create. So let's say you're in your 9-to-5 job. When I was still working for Tony Robbins, 5:30, I'm an early bird, so it was a little easier for me than maybe others. But 5:30 every morning, I'd wake up before my son, Cade, or husband, Hobie, were up. And for 1 hour, I would work on the business that I wanted to create. I hadn't left my job yet. I was still totally in and focused on my 9-to-5. But in the morning, before I got there, that was my time. I worked on new blog posts. I'd never blogged in my life. I started to put together a website. I started to put together my own social media. I was scared to put myself out there, but 1 hour every morning. And this got me closer and closer to getting the courage to leave my corporate job and start something new. Now, it has to be scheduled in your calendar. This is the tricky part. And this is what I want you all to do after I jump off here. I want you to go into your calendar and find an hour. If you can't do every day, how about 3 times a week where you are dedicated to working on the kind of business you want and not working for somebody else or doing something for somebody else. This is your time. Tiger time. 1 hour a week. And you don't judge yourself like, this isn't a good blog post or that website looks like crap. Everyone's first website looks like crap. Everyone's. And guess what? I had a really ugly website that got me to my first $1 million year. I don't believe that you have to have the most spectacular website. I believe it's got to be good and a good representation of yourself. But everyone starts somewhere. The crappy first blog post, the website you kind of cringe at 10 years later, the first video you make, we all cringe. But guess what? We all did it. What's different about me and somebody else who didn't start their online business is they weren't willing to have the crappiness first. So just keep remembering that you got to start somewhere. So tiger time, totally doable. You are right, Jenny. You get an Amazon gift card. Totally doable. This is totally doable. 1 hour, tiger time, every day or at least 3 times a week. That's what I want for you. Deal? All right. Okay, let's keep moving on. I've got more for you. Number 3, get into motion. Even if you're nervous, you have to take action. This one is so incredibly important. I believe that clarity comes from action. Clarity doesn't come from thinking about it. Clarity doesn't come from sitting on a decision you need to make. Clarity comes from action. And I know we all want clarity. I started this conversation saying it's all about the freedom we want, right? Time freedom, financial freedom, lifestyle freedom, freedom to create, freedom to work when you want, where you want, and who you want to work with. In order to get clear on what that freedom actually means to you, you have to get into motion. That's why the tiger time, actually doing work for the business you want to create every morning, that's in motion. I am obsessed right now with the 5-second rule. Do you guys know that book by Mel Robbins? She's coming on my podcast soon. So I wanted to kind of get more acquainted with some of her stuff. It had been a long time since I read the book. So now I'm reading it as I go on my walk every morning with my dog Scout. And the book is incredible. The 5-second rule. If you need help putting these habits into place, go read the book. Like, it's incredible. But what she said about confidence was so spot on to what I'm talking about today. So Mel says, confidence is created by the small things you do every single day that build trust in yourself. You're only as good as your word, and your word to yourself means everything. And I am so very guilty of saying I'm going to do something and not doing it. Raise your hand if you can totally relate. Yeah, I'm going to get up this morning. I'm going to work out. Yes, I'm going to get that one blog post done by tomorrow. And then you don't do it. And the more promises we break with ourselves, the less confident we are of actually going out and getting what we want. So I'm going to read it one more time. Confidence, if you're looking for more confidence, my friend, which I think we all are, confidence is created by the small things, the 1-hour tiger time, the setting your daily habits, actually doing them, the small things you do every single day that build trust in yourself. Don't discount a full week of getting up out of bed and working out when you say you're going to do it. That is trust. Don't discount the fact that you actually told yourself you're going to do a podcast and you did it on time. Those add up. This is so important. Get into motion. The small things you do every day, that's the motion I'm talking about. All right, number four, keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize. What I mean by this is you've got to remember why you want a change in the first place, why you want to leave your 9-to-5 job, why you want to maybe take less one-on-one clients and create a digital course so that you can make money more consistently over and over again with the same product, making it easier, or why you want to just get out of the situation you're in right now and move into something that totally just lights you up. You have to keep your eye on the prize. Write it on a Post-it. I want XYZ. Write what you want. What do you want? That actually is the simplest question and the hardest one to answer for some people. What do you want? What do you want for this business you want to create? How much money do you want to make? How do you want to make it? We've got to get clear on what we want and then keep our eye on the prize because days are going to get hard. I remember when I was still at my 9-to-5 job, even the idea of just telling one person I was thinking about starting my own business terrified me. Let alone having to tell Tony Robbins and the Tony Robbins organization I was leaving what looked like a dream job, and in many cases was. But I wanted something different, and I wanted that something different more, even more than the fear that I felt. Keep your eye on the prize. Okay, so the point here, stick to your habits and remember that they are the fuel for your freedom. Habits are the fuel for your freedom. Write that down. Habits are the fuel for your freedom, whatever freedom looks like to you. Remember all those things you wrote down of what you do if you had more time freedom, money freedom, lifestyle freedom? Habits are the fuel to get you there. So incredibly important. Okay, so I just gave you 4. There are 6. So hold on one second. I'm going to go into some Q&A, but before I do, amyporterfield.com/habits. amyporterfield.com/habits. I want you to go get this guide. I will give you all the habits and more details around each habit so that you can apply them to your business. Remember, each of the 6 habits can be implemented into what you're already doing. No major hills to climb to make them all work, just new ways to approach what needs to get done in your business so that you can reach those big, bold goals. Go grab this right now if you haven't already. This is different from the workbook. amyporterfield.com/habits. Create more freedom and live your best life. 6 daily habits to swear by. This is what you want. This is going to give you even more from what I gave you today. Okay, so what I want to do right now is go into some Q&A. What questions do you have? Where do you get stuck when it comes to your habits? What's not working on your journey moving from where you are right now into the business that you want to create? What's getting in the way? Let's talk about it. I'm going to do a little Q&A and then I'm going to wrap up. I have one more little thing I want to share with you. But before we get there, what questions do you have? I'm going to grab this one right now and then I'm going to go, oh, I see you all put it in. I have a little handy dandy iPad right here where my team puts in questions you all asked, but I'm going to do this one first. Vienna says, what about, do you love that she used hashtag question so I could like grab it like that? I love an efficient woman. So what about for those who work too much but want to scale it back and work smarter, not harder? Always on the hamster wheel. Love this. Okay, I have the exact answer for you because this was me for sure. So remember I said I moved my team to a 4-day work week? I selfishly did it first for me. Although my team was always on my mind, I knew that I wanted to work less but make a bigger impact. Work less but do more in my business. And the only way that was going to happen is if I had a hard and fast rule, a habit per se, that said, this is what I do and this is what I don't do. So your habits are going to be around how much you're allowing yourself to work. Because here's the thing, my team went to a 4-day work week and we are hitting every revenue goal we've set for ourselves. Like we are on it. Just in the last few months, there has not been one single dip in revenue. And I'm so proud of them for doing so. So don't just think this is not true. I wish someone told me this so many years ago. The amount of time you work does not equate to how much money you make, meaning you work more, you make more money. That is not true. And I've seen it over and over again, and I've never been proof until recently, which is why I'm so passionate to encourage all of you to set some non-negotiables. When you work and when you don't work. You don't have to work your life away to make millions if that's your goal. And if it's not your goal, whatever, $100,000, $200,000, whatever it is, you have the ability to do it in a small amount of time. You just have to define when you work and when you don't work. Vienna, for you, that's the one that I want. And also, when you put into your calendar when you're not working, what are you doing? How are you spending your time outside of work? Schedule it so that you know, oh, I don't work here. I'm actually at the park now with my kids. That's what's happening. That's on my calendar. Gotta go. But more importantly than ever, we have to stay true to whatever it is we decide we want to do. That part is so important. Okay, Bethany says, how do we muster the energy for good habits when life gets so busy and you get burned out? Well, it's a vicious cycle. Life gets so busy, you get burned out, so you don't create habits. You don't create habits, life gets so busy, you get burned out. So you have to say, hold on, wait a second. Hold on, I got to stop for a second. And that stop, whether it be a day, a week, an hour, to sit down and get really clear on what is it that you want and why you want it. And then from there, you create daily habits that are going to move you closer. Meaning, my friend, there's no magic pill here. You're burned out. Everything's going so fast. You've got so much to do. So that's never going to change unless you slow down for just a minute and say, I'm going to put some new habits in place so that I don't always feel as though I'm burned out and there's too much. I also, and this is a conversation for another day, I'm going to be coming back weekly starting this week. So I'll see you next week, the week after, mark your calendars. But one of the things that I definitely will want to talk about is I don't believe you need to have like 10 spinning plates in the air. I come from a place of one digital course can actually make you $1 million. I actually have proof of it from many of my students or my business as well. I just interviewed Joy Foster, one course over $1 million over a period of time, of course. What I'm trying to say is you don't need 10 different things to make money in your business. You can have just a few, which means you get really good at a few things and you're not working every single hour to cover all your bases. Do less to make more. I believe it. Stick with me. We'll keep talking about that. Okay, here's another one. Mercy says, if you're working a job you hate, when is the right time to quit and work for yourself? Love this question. So Mercy, I'm writing a book right now all about how to leave a job you hate in order to move into building an online business. I'm so very passionate about this. So you are literally the person I'm writing the book about. And I'm going to give you a little hint. One of the things I want you to do is I want you to actually be so bold to decide when you're going to exit from your 9-to-5 job. Now, it's likely not tomorrow or even in 2 weeks from now. It might be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. I gave myself a full year to transition out of working for Tony into starting my own business. And what's important that I need to say, and I want you all to hear, is that while you're working the 9-to-5 job, even if you're like dreaming of this new business you're creating, you have to be all in for that employer. I think it's just good karma. One day you're going to be an employer with employees working for you. You want them to always be on it, all in, right? So it's good karma to stay focused when you're there. But when you're not there, you're dreaming of what you're creating in the future. And so one of the things I teach, Mercy, is to choose your exit date. Now think about it. I don't think you have to have tons and tons of money in order to quit. I didn't. Many of my friends did not. I don't think it's extremely expensive to start an online business, but you do want to make sure that you've put together a plan. You know how you're going to get some clients, a few in the beginning, maybe put a little bit of money away to help you, but put together a plan and then put the stake in the ground and you write it on a Post-it. So let's say it's 6 months from now, you write it on a Post-it. What happens when you declare your date of when you're going to leave, things start to fall into place. You start looking through the lens of that date. So when this happens, you make a different decision than you would if you thought you're going to stay at your corporate job forever. You start making decisions from a stronger place, a clearer place, and you start doing the things you need to do to get to that date. So you work backwards. So choose a date and put it on a Post-it note. That's my best advice I can give you for that one. Jason says, what do you do if you don't have enough work to say no to, but you want to say no? Great question. I love the honesty with this one. It's such a great question because it happens to all of us. So I did it the wrong way, Jason. I tell this story to my students that when I decided that I had this really bad situation with a client, like a client I hated working with. Here's the thing. I left my corporate job. I was in my first 2 years, I didn't create digital courses. I didn't know how to. So I was a service-based business. I did social media for small businesses and I consulted for some businesses as well. So in the first 2 years of my business, I created a business I hated. I hated doing one-on-one work. I hated doing consulting work. I knew I wanted to create digital courses to support me, to many, my audience, but I wasn't there yet. So I had all these clients and I did not like working with them. So one day after a really horrible situation with a jerky client, I said, screw it. And I ended up firing all my clients to work on my first digital course and launch it out into the world. I do not suggest this. I went into debt. And I hadn't been in debt since I was really young, like right out of college. But now here I was in debt again because I didn't do that very smartly. So what I suggest is, let's say you don't have enough clients to say no to. Then I would do the work you need to do and do two things. Number one, ask yourself and just brainstorm. You might not have the answers now. How do I attract a client I actually like to work with? What do I need to do to get people that I actually want to say yes to? Now, you ultimately might be like me and not want to take any clients at all. But your reality right now is you got to pay the bills. You've got to put food on the table. So you're going to have to take some clients for a period of time. I get it. That's what I did. But what I wish I would have done is said, I don't like working with these clients. They're demanding. They're unrealistic. This isn't my type of person I want to work with. How do I attract someone I love to work with? Maybe I first need to brainstorm who I would love to work with, what that would look like, and maybe float the idea around to some people that might know someone. You've got to get scrappy here because the ultimate plan, Jason, might be I don't want to work with any clients. I get it. I still don't do one-on-one in my business. 90% of my revenue comes from just my digital courses. But I had to, and I wish I stayed with it a little longer not to get in debt, which creates stress. So get clear on who you want to work with. What would that look like? Where might you find them? And on the back end, you're creating an exit plan, moving away from client work into what you want to do. So you've got kind of two paths going until you can totally let go of the one-on-one path. That's what I wish I would have done instead of getting into debt. Angie says, how do you keep from getting distracted by technology during that hour when the creative work needs to be done on your device? Great question, because I just experienced this morning. I write my book every morning, usually from 5:30 to 6:30 or 7. And I've got this time where I'm on a deadline. I've got to write this book. And so I do it on my laptop. Obviously, I'm not sitting on a typewriter, but some might. And I have this thing where text messages come up on my computer. And this morning one came up and I found myself literally chatting with a friend while I'm on the clock to write this book. And I thought, okay, that needs to be deleted when I'm on this computer. And then something else grabbed my attention. Oh, I wanted to research something. And then all of a sudden I was in a social media rabbit hole. Like, whoa, what you need to do is just come back. Forgive yourself and come back. You have to be aware of it. Speaking of Mel Robbins, I use the 5-4-3-2-1 rule. I don't know if you guys don't know the book, you'd have to check it out. But 5-4-3-2-1, if you say that, and then the next thing is you do the next right thing, it allows me to just get out of where I was. So I did it to get out of bed this morning to write the book. And when I found myself going down this weird rabbit hole on social media where I was researching, that turned into seeing who went to what party the other night, 5-4-3-2-1, boom. I was like, I'm back in action. So I just use any little trick that I have in order to get to do what I need to do. So I just turn off any distraction I can. And when I find myself pulled into it, boom. The point is I snap back out of it. Yeah, I was there. Now I'm here. Don't make a big deal of it. But you do have to train yourself. And it becomes easier when you just like, nope. When you do it enough times to come back to where you need to be. But as much as you can, get any distractions off that computer during that time. I mean, in an ideal world, we'd have enough money or resources. I haven't even done this either, so I get it. But to have a separate computer, like writing my book, I thought it would be great to have a computer that's just for writing my book with nothing on it, but like a Word or a Google Doc or whatever. But I didn't do that. It just sounds really good, right? Okay. Mercy says, how do you stop being so obsessed with technology? Oh, funny. Pretty similar to the other question. I use it primarily in my business, but way too much in my personal life. I've had to take it off my phone. So I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I love TikTok. I think it's so funny and entertaining. Like I would choose to watch TikTok over like a TV show with my husband, Hobie, which believe me, that doesn't fly very well, right? Now you know how Hobie is. But I found myself being sucked into it for like 2 hours at a time at nighttime. I don't want anything to distract me like that. It wasn't fueling me with creativity. I was literally like a reality show. I just kept watching and watching. I took it off. And I told myself, I am not putting it back on until a few months passed. If I still want to do it, maybe I'll put some rules around it then. But I just have to take it off. Sometimes I am an all or nothing girl, which isn't always helpful and healthy, but I also know myself. So I'm like, no, we're not doing TikTok. So I know many friends who have taken Instagram off their phones. And they'll say, look, I'm going to do it for a week or two and then come back and maybe put some rules around when I do it or not. But my friends, we're only as good as our word. No one else is going to save us. We have to get better at doing what we say we're going to do for ourselves. And I'm passionate because I'm speaking to this girl as well. I see it enough times and I get frustrated like, oh my gosh, I said I was going to do that. If I'm not true to my own word, then what do I got? We have to be able to trust ourselves. The way you trust yourself is do what you say you're going to do. And the more you do that, then you trust yourself to make decisions like leaving a 9-to-5 job and creating your dream business that you wanted more than anything. Trust starts in little commitments we make to ourselves that we actually follow through. Imagine if you do that long enough, you've got a lot of trust. I trust myself that I can make $1 million. I trust myself that I can write a New York Times best-selling book. I trust myself that I can be an amazing leader to my amazing team that I have. I trust myself because I've done this for long enough, small little wins along the way that I committed to, that I can look back and be like, yeah, I can trust my word. I can trust to say that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. But you have to start somewhere with the little things. Remember Mel Robbins says, confidence comes when you do those little things every single day. But you have to be true to your word. I think that's so important. Okay, Deshna says, how do you overcome self-criticism in the creative process? I allow myself to do bad work. Now, bad, relative. Here's the thing. I learned this from my good friend Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach School, and she talked about doing B- work and being okay with it. Now, when I heard that, I was a little bit of an overachiever in high school and college, and A's were everything to me. My son is now in college, and I probably still do, but I try not to make it a big deal that he has to get all A's. The boy is good, he does, but I try not to like put my weirdness into that because in being an entrepreneur, that word kind of gets sticky, right? Being an entrepreneur, you can't always do A or A plus work. You're going to drive yourself nuts. And so instead, Brooke says, be okay with B minus work, meaning let go of the perfectionism. Now, I'm never going to be okay with B minus work, but I am going to be okay with B plus work. It's close to an A, but not quite so. To me, B plus work feels good. I want my best stuff out there, but I don't want to obsess over it, or nothing would ever get out there. Seth Godin says, you got to ship it. If I was always going for A plus work, I would never ship anything. I wouldn't have had this training ready for you today. I wouldn't have this freebie all about habits. I wouldn't have the business I have today as a whole. Little things and big things. So to answer your question, the self-criticism, tell yourself, today I'm going to do B plus work. This is good enough. I'm moving on. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. Andy says, how do you handle pursuing your freedom when your partner does not believe in you? This is a question, Andy, I get asked all the time. And the thing is, I don't have personal experience. Hobie was my biggest cheerleader the minute I said I wanted to leave. He's also a risk taker where I'm not as much so. So Tim, he was like, let's do it. But I know a lot of people, especially Andy, in your case, I actually have no idea if Andy's a man or a woman, but because the name can work both ways. But let's say that I will say that a lot of my female entrepreneurs struggle with their husbands not wanting them to do it. But there's some gentlemen in my audience that their wives are like, I'm freaked out. Where's the security? Like, you've always had this 9-to-5 secure job, health benefits, money coming in. You're shaking up our family. So it really works both ways, whether it's your husband, wife, spouse, partner, whatever it is. So to answer your question, what I have found and what I have shared with my students is that I really do believe two things. Number one, you've got to have the most heartfelt conversation you can with your loved ones. They love you. They want you to be safe. They want the family to be safe. And they're probably scared or just very confused. And so to really share your heart of why this is important, and maybe it's like, my 9-to-5 job is sucking me dry. I don't even have any soul left when I go in there. I'm not my best self. And so when I come home, I'm frustrated with you. I'm frustrated with our life because I'm going to a job every day I don't want to go to. I want something more for our family. Whatever it is, whatever the conversation needs to be had, it has to be from your heart. The second thing is you might have to do it even if they don't understand. And that's hard to say when you're married to someone, right? Or when you're, really connected with your partner. At the end of the day, if they still won't accept this new path you want to go on, you might have to just keep going on it and say, I understand you don't get it, but one day you will. So if you can just love me through it, you don't have to agree with it, love me through it, but as much support as you can throw my way, I'll take, but I'm going to do this. And that typically happens with a lot of my female entrepreneurs who never were the breadwinners anyway. And so their husbands kind of looked at their hobby as something that maybe would pass. And they're like, this hobby is actually going to be a lucrative business. Watch out. So you're going to have to get a little bit of confidence, self-confidence, like I'm going to just do this for me no matter what. And I know that's easier said than done, but I've seen it done. I know it wasn't my situation. I've seen it done. And I do believe that makes a difference. Janice says, and if anyone has any other personal advice, share it in the comments. If you had a spouse that didn't accept you but now does, share it. Janice says, that was me at work, face-to-face with virus. I don't know what that word means. Stressed, depressed. The negativity was too much. Very supportive hubby though, which is so fantastic. So, but Janice can agree, like she was going in there. It was like a virus. She felt horrible going in there. That's the stuff that you likely need to communicate if it's your truth. David said, I'm struggling working from home, often getting caught up in thoughts. How do you stop this happening? So David, this is a big one. I believe that every day you should start your day, or within the morning before you start your workday, at least 10 minutes of something inspirational. I'm going to say self-help, but I know that turns some of you off, but this has made a huge, huge change in my life. Every morning I listen because I typically am an Audible kind of girl. So I listen to a book that will inspire me or help me change my thoughts that aren't serving me. And so that's why, I'm on a kick right now with Mel Robbins and the 5-second rule, but there's so many others that I love as well. And I have to fuel my brain. I have to make sure that I'm listening to something. Brene Brown has a great book. She has a book on imperfections that is fantastic. That's another great one. But I have to listen to something every day to rewire my brain. I deal with depression and anxiety on a regular basis. And about 3 months ago, so at the beginning of January till about 3 months ago, it almost felt debilitating. Like there was days I didn't want to get out of bed. It had been a while since I have felt that. But I started eating my emotions again, which is my crutch. I started crying more often than not. I started feeling blue, even though I had just moved to Nashville, this beautiful house we're living in. My husband is healthy. My son is healthy. My dog is healthy. Like life is good. And I felt super depressed. And so I needed to start and I wasn't fueling my brain every morning. So I'm a big stickler for that. So if you get stuck in thoughts that don't serve you, fuel your brain with inspiration, books that will help you change your stinking thinking in order to choose new thoughts that will serve you. Thoughts create feelings, feelings create actions. I'll repeat it. Thoughts create feelings. Your feelings are what create your actions. So if we want to get into motion, we got to be very careful of what we're thinking, which turns into how we're feeling. Great question. Susan says, how do I do the most productive habits that might not be the fun stuff? The old adage is you do them first. So you do them first so that you can get them out of the way. We all do stuff we don't love, my friends. We all do stuff that we don't love. So every day, after I do my daily habits, after I go on my walk and journal and drink my water and all that good stuff, after I do that, I then move into the stuff I just got to knock out real fast or not so fast I don't want to do, and then move into actually doing the stuff that I feel most creative about. So yeah, you just knock them out and you get them done first. It literally makes a huge difference. I know we're running out of time in just a few minutes. Let me take a few more questions. How do I do less if I'm the only person in the business? Where do I start when hiring my first person? Hire a virtual assistant. I have a podcast episode all about hiring your first assistant and what to look for. My team will put a link to a few different podcasts below that could be helpful to you. But the first hire, I believe, should be a virtual assistant. My first hire, like I said, was Rebecca. She doesn't work with me anymore. She went on to do her own thing, but she was 5 hours a week. And together we stumbled through what the heck to do with a virtual assistant. She had never even been one. I had never had one. We just made it work. She was someone in my community that caught all my typos, and I thought, I like your style. You know what to look for. So it is such an important thing to start with. I have a podcast called Online Marketing Made Easy. If you all haven't listened to it, maybe go find an episode today. Online Marketing Made Easy with Amy Porterfield. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen. We'll put a few suggestions below in this video of some great episodes to start with, especially if you're just getting started in your entrepreneurial journey. Oh, great. Megan found it right here. And actually, if you just go to amyporterfield.com/349, amyporterfield.com/349, you can skip even some of those numbers. It will take you right there as well. So thanks, Megs. Okay, let's see here. If I need to choose one habit to start with, what would you recommend? This is a good one. Let's see here. Acting Creative gave this one. So if you want to choose one habit to start with, what would you recommend? This is good. The habit I would recommend, I would say, would be your tiger time. And the reason for that is it kind of incorporates when you work. So it takes a little bit of the non-negotiable. And it gives you solid time to get really clear on the things that will move you forward. So what if every day for 1 hour you had tiger time, where you only worked on things that was going to move the needle forward in the way you wanted to move it for this business you're creating or want to create? I think tiger time would be the one habit if I had to choose. I don't like to choose just one, but if I had to. Let's see. Laura says, how do I, as a product shop, shift from my original product to something totally different and still stay true to my brand? So Laura, pivots are really a normal part of entrepreneurship. Why can't I say that word today? Entrepreneurship. I am saying that right? It sounded a little weird. But pivots are necessary, actually. So way back in the day, I wrote one of those big fat yellow dummies books, those huge dummies books about Facebook marketing. I taught Facebook marketing, I consulted over Facebook marketing, and I had a digital product on Facebook marketing. And through the years, I fully moved away from teaching Facebook marketing, doing social media for other people, into now teaching people how to grow an email list and create digital courses. Totally different than what I used to do. And what it is basically you just making sure you're not flip-flopping for the sake of being bored in one thing and wanting to go to another, or chasing a squirrel. We always got to get really clear, what are we doing this for? But if you're called to make a move in your business, I want you to sit down and outline it. Do a total brain dump. Do it in the next 24 hours. For 20 minutes, brain dump, what would it look like? First of all, what you want to create. Maybe you've already done that part. And second of all, what would the transition look like? What are the things you have to think about? How might you do it? How might you do it? You don't have to have all the answers. And also, sometimes it's not a big announcement. Hey guys, I'm changing everything in my business. But for me, and maybe for you, it could be a gradual change over time. But what I will say is if you find a need to make a change in your business, going from one product to something totally different, or from one modality into another, like one-on-one consulting into a digital course, this is something that you can do over time gradually. But you have to get into motion. That's why that 1 hour of Tiger Time every day could help you immensely. Okay, so let's see here. Maria, do you have an end of day ritual to regroup and prepare for the next day's Tiger Time? Girl, I love you. I love this question. I can become such a squirrel at times that my productivity becomes jeopardized. Any tips? Yes, yes, yes. Come back to me if you're multitasking. This is a great one. Maria wants to know, do I have an end of day ritual? What I didn't tell you earlier is that I use the Full Focus Planner. This is Michael Hyatt and Company's planner. It's a physical planner. I have a digital project management system I use, but I overlap. I also every day write down my tasks in a paper planner. I'm old school and I love it. Studies show that if you write it down, you actually are more apt to do it. So with that, in the Full Focus Planner, we'll put a link to it below so you guys can check it out if you want to. I love, love, love it. But in my Full Focus Planner, every day there's a morning ritual, which is many of the habits I'm sharing here, and a shutdown ritual or end of day ritual, where yes, I actually plan for the next day. It takes me 10 minutes. I plan for the next day. Here's how the next day is going to go. And because I'm writing a book, which would be my Tiger Time, I decide before I shut down for the day, what am I writing about tomorrow? What chapter am I writing? Maybe what story am I writing? What experience or exercise do I want to create for the book? So I have it decided the night before I shut down. I usually stop ending work at 6. So before 6 o'clock, in that last 30 minutes from 5:30 to 6, I decide, okay, what does my day look like tomorrow? What does my calendar look like? What are the tasks I'm going to get done? I write them all in my Full Focus Planner. And then I decide how I'm going to spend my Tiger Time, in my case, writing the book, the next day. So yes, I love that because when I get up, I'm ready. I'm not like, wonder what the day is going to bring me today. I wonder what I'm going to do. Never, I can't. It's the death of me. So I like to wake up and know what I'm going to do. And do I do this all perfectly? Heck no. I'm sure you can already guess that, but I just want to be clear. I tell you I've got my Tiger Time. I tell you I've got my Full Focus Planner. I tell you I've got these 6 habits that I swear by. If you haven't already, amyporterfield.com/habits, go get the free resource guide so that everything I just taught and more, you can go back to it so you can implement. I tell you I do all this, and it's true. I do. This is how I live my life. But I mess up all the time. I have to recorrect. I stay in bed too long, or I miss my writing session. Back at it. Let's get back at it. What I don't do anymore is dwell too long. What I don't do is give it all up and say, screw it, I can't do this. Makes a big difference. It's forgiving yourself and getting back at it. Does anyone here watch Ted Lasso? Favorite. Michael Hyatt and his wife Gail introduced me to it, and Hobie and I are obsessed. I love Ted Lasso. It's on Apple TV. If not, please go start watching Ted Lasso. So Ted Lasso he's a coach and for soccer and in the UK, and he teaches his soccer players to have the mind of a goldfish. Think like a goldfish. Have a memory of a goldfish specifically. Meaning he says that goldfish have a 8-second memory. 8 seconds, and then they're on to the next thing, can't remember. I'm pretty sure that this is, who knows, right? However, I don't care. Be a goldfish. Be a goldfish. Something didn't work out? Great. Forget it. Let's move on. Let's do something else. I literally, when I heard that, I'm like, oh, I could live by that. If I just lived by that, my life would be so much easier. So yes, be a goldfish, my friends. Things don't work out? Fine. Forget it. Let's move on. What's your next step? What's happening next? What's the next habit you're going to commit to? You missed your writing session this morning? Okay, great. Just forgot that I missed it because tomorrow I'm going to kill it. These are the things that help you become a stronger entrepreneur. Okay, so real quick, final quote I want to share with you. First, forget inspiration. Habit is more dependable. Habit will sustain you whether you're inspired or not. I wanted to end with this quote because don't look for inspiration. Don't wait for when you're ready. Don't do it when you feel like it. Never, ever, ever rely on if you feel like it, because half the time we don't, right? Half the time I want to sit on the couch and just watch Ted Lasso. But I need to get it done because I've got big goals that I've set for myself. Don't look for inspiration, although sometimes it will come and it's a very nice surprise. Just stick to your habits. Just stick to your habits. They literally are life-changing. So that's my hope for you. amyporterfield.com/habits. Go grab our free guide. I know you're going to love it. And I will see you here next week. And in the meantime, if you want a little bit more strategy, how to get your business up and running, go check out my podcast, Online Marketing Made Easy. Thanks guys for being here. Sending all my love, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.